Well, it's just going to be one of those days. Good morning, Wednesday morning. Why do I say that? Because this is the second take of this video. I really liked where I was with the last one. Alright, well, we'll deal with it. I was listening to NPR this morning. Had an interesting article, interesting story on the original Boston Tea Party with a tax historian and how it compared to Tea Party activists nowadays. And of course, there are some similarities, I suppose. It's a protest. Some would say a populist protest. But the original Tea Party was about 3 words. Taxation without representation. We all remember that phrase from social studies. What it basically meant was that the colonists were being taxed by the crown. But they had no representation in Parliament. No one there was their voice. They were subject to the laws and the taxes of the British government, but had no voice in that government. That's what the original one was about. Tea Party people today will tell you that, well, that's what it's about again today. It's taxation without representation, that they're not really being represented, that their desires are not being represented, the politicians aren't listening. That's not the same thing. It's not close. There is representation. If the person in office is not the person they wanted in office, they lost the vote. If they want someone new, they want someone who represents them, then they need to find that candidate and back that candidate and vote for them. And that person can go to bat for them. And if they don't, they do it again. They have representation, they have choice in representation, they just need to mobilize to be represented by someone who sees things their way. Big difference between the two. But again, there's this mentality that allows that logical leap to say not being represented at all and being taxed for it is the same as not being happy with the people who are representing you. One is literally not being represented. The other is figuratively not being represented. But that wasn't the part that really irked me. That was an interesting comparison, and I think valid. Now, the part that irked me was when they talked to a Tea Party organizer in Boston. Yesterday, a study came out from the Centers for Tax Justice. This is not a group that is fond of taxation. They want fair taxes, but they don't want to be overly taxed. They kind of monitor taxation in the U.S. Their study showed that %95 of U.S. tax-paying households will receive a tax cut this year. Not an increase. Tax cut. 95%. 95% will see their taxes go down this year instead of up. 95%. Again, this is not from a group who's trying to promote anybody's policy. They simply want to study whether we are being taxed fairly. 95%. It's a pretty big number. My guess is that 5% are probably in the top tax brackets, 95% will receive a tax cut. So they asked this Tea Party person, what do you think? 95%? I mean, your T, the TEA, stands for taxed enough already. What do you think? 95%? I don't believe it. She refused to believe a third party who has studied taxes, who is all about taxes. She refused to believe a third party group that says 95% of the people, which probably includes her, will receive a tax cut this year. Really. That's the problem with these ideologies. There is so much invested in Tea Party. Taxed enough already. They've got so much of their ideology invested in the government being evil and opposing the other side that when presented with evidence that they don't know what they're talking about, they just simply ignore it. This woman is ready to protest that she's taxed enough already. She receives a tax cut this year, and it doesn't matter. She wants to protest higher taxes. She received a tax cut, and she wants to protest higher taxes. This drives me nuts. Literally nuts. It's absolutely blind. Blind devotion to an ideology that is completely flawed. Makes me crazy. Now, the other thing I had to deal with this morning, I'm hoping some of you parents out there might be able to help me, because I really don't know. Carolyn was taking way too much time getting ready this morning. Now, she dilly-dallies and she doesn't get ready all that quick on a regular basis, but slower than usual. Why? She was trying to find the right outfit so she could make her friend Michael fall in love with her again, because he used to be in love with her, but he's not anymore. Carolyn is 7. At 7 years old, she's already got the impression that love comes from appearance. That what you look like is more important than who you are and what you do. 7 years old, and that's where she is already. I am at a loss. I really am. I don't know what exactly to do about this. How exactly to change this perception or educate her on this. We talk, but she's bombarded with images every day. She doesn't watch TV at home. We don't watch TV. I watch a few programs in the evening, but she doesn't watch TV. It's certainly not programs that are going to promote that kind of thinking. So where do I go with this? I'm at a loss. If you're a parent, you've had to deal with this. What did you do? How did you get across to your kids that the appearance isn't nearly as important as to what a person is like inside? That the actions are more important than the looks? How did you deal with it? And if you're not a parent, but you had to deal with this as, a child, a teenager, an adult, how did you deal with it? How did you come to realize that what was inside was more important than what came out? I could use the help. Let me know. Put it in the comments below. I want to hear what you think. Hope you have a great Wednesday.